Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're subscribed, thank you so much. You're going to be seeing this first. And if you're not, make sure and subscribe. But today we are going to be going over sales training. All right. So we're going to get a free sales training this time, and it is going to be on a bird's eye view. So more of a high level macro type of sales training. And before we get into scripts, objection handling, frameworks, all that good stuff, we're going to go over the basics and the foundations first. All right. And one of the main reasons for that is because if you do not understand the basics, it doesn't matter what script I show you, it doesn't matter what objection handling sheet I show you, it doesn't matter any of that stuff, because you're not going to know where it's coming from and you're not going to understand the basics. All right. So with that being said, we will go ahead and dive in. All right. So why the basics before scripts and frameworks? I'm sure you're probably asking that question right now. So I'm going to break that down for you really quickly. Okay. Basically, imagine the gym. I like to use the gym analogy because I like to go to the gym. Most of the people that I've met in sales, all that good stuff, they understand it. They like to go to the gym as well, keep their body in shape so they can keep their mind in shape, right? But if you imagine the gym, if you go to the gym and you are trying to improve your body, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to gain muscle, all that good stuff. If you have no idea what the muscles are, how are you going to do that, right? Doesn't make any sense. If you don't know what a delt is, right? If you don't know what your scaps are, right? If you don't know what your pectoral muscles are, if you don't know what your quads are, if you don't know what your biceps are, how are you going to be able to hit them effectively in the gym and gain growth? Right? Or be able to cut, or whatever the case may be that you're trying to accomplish. If you don't know the basics and the fundamentals of muscles and muscle groups, it's going to be very hard for you to attack that at the gym and be able to work out correctly. Okay? Same thing applies to sales. If you do not understand the basics, if you do not understand the foundation of what you're practicing upon and what you're taking upon in terms of sales, it's going to be very difficult for you to start to go to scripts, start to go to frameworks, start to understand everything, because you have no basis, no foundation of which you're building upon. So this is going to do a couple things for you, right? Number one, you need a process embedded in your brain before you can even start to follow something, because if you have it embedded in your brain, you will know exactly where to go, what to do, all that good stuff, right? And this is going to help you fully understand why it's there in the scripts and frameworks, right? What the purposes of them are, right? So why are certain things in the script? Why are certain things in the framework? All that good stuff. And most importantly, so you can customize it to yourself, right? Because it doesn't matter if you're going through a script, you're going through a framework, you're sounding like a robot, right? Nobody's going to buy from you anyway, okay? Because you're just reading a script, you're just reading a framework. However, if you understand the basics and the foundations of it, you can start to customize it to yourself, which sounds more genuine, and it sounds like that person is talking to another person instead of a robot or a salesperson, right? So it's very important for you to understand the basics, understand those foundations, so that way you can attack scripts and you can attack frameworks in the right manner, understand where they're coming from, and customize them to you, okay? Now, what is this process that I keep talking about, okay? This is basically the agenda of a closer. You need to know this before you get into anything, right? It's pretty simple. A sales process is when a salesperson, high-ticket closer, whatever you want to call them, begins speaking with a prospect, which is a buyer, right? They begin speaking with them. That's the first part of this process. The next part is a closer then starts going through a list, right? Contemplating if this will benefit the individual, right? If the individual is a good fit in all aspects, okay, now all of these aspects are they a good fit? What's going on with them? What's their past experiences? What are their goals? Why do they have those goals? All that good stuff. And then proposes what they are selling to the buyer, okay? That's the whole list, and that is the process that you'll be going through, okay? And it's very important to go through this process in two ways. Number one, you have to do the process, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to sell, right? Number two, you have to be able to go through the process in order. And in order for you to even go through the process like that, you have to know it, you have to understand it, and most importantly, it has to be embedded into your brain, okay? So what does this list actually look like, right? Let's go ahead and dive into that. And this is going to be the moment that everybody's been waiting for. This is going to be the training, right? So the list, right? This is a 5-point sales process is what it's called. Okay. Now there is 5 points, there's 7 points, there's freaking 21 points, right? We're going to keep it super simple. As long as you know the 5-point sales process, you have a general basis of what to do, how to do it, and understand how you can go through scripts, frameworks, all that good stuff. Okay. 5-point is the easiest, and it's also the best thing to know before you start actually getting into sales, into training, into objection handling, and all that good mess. Okay. So number 1 in this 5-point sales process is the approach or your first impression, right? This is super, super important because this is going to be the opening and the ending of the entire call, right? Because if you do not get this right, the call will be very short. People are going to tell you no, right? Because they don't trust you, they don't like you, whatever the case may be, because you gave a first impression that wasn't necessarily good, right? However, you need to figure out what approach works best for you, right? Are you a funny individual? Are you more authoritarian? Are you kind? Etc., right? And the reason you want to figure this out is because if you're a funny person, you need to be funny. Be yourself so that you can be genuine on these calls from the very first moment that you say hello to this prospect, right? If you're more authoritarian, which I usually take this mixed with the kind, right? You can start to take an approach of, hey, this is what we're going to do on the call. This is what's going to happen. These are the things that I'm going to take you through the processes through. I just wanted to be open and honest with you about that. Is that cool? Yes, perfect. Now you have set the tone for the call, okay? If you want to take the kind approach, right? You can basically go through that approach by saying, hey, on this call, what I want to do for you is I want to serve you to the best possibility that I can, all right? And what I want to do with this, right, is I want to ask some questions, get to know you a little better, and I want to make sure that when we come to the end of this call, you can make a very, very good decision because what I care about is the best for you. Does that sound good? Yes, perfect. You have taken the kind route, right? But don't take that route unless you're that kind of person, right? Because it needs to be genuine. It needs to be felt because this first impression and this approach is the number one thing that matters the most. That's why it's first, right? And it's in the sales process because that's the first thing you have to do. Okay, so this is going to set the tone for the entire call, and you need to know this first. Okay, embed that in your brain no matter what. Approach, first impression, right? That's the first thing I need to do. After you have that down pat and you've got that situated, the next thing, number 2, that you need to do is the discovery phase. Okay, and you can call this whatever you want, discovery phase, intelligence phase, whatever the case may be, but this is essentially where you're asking questions. Right? You're asking questions to figure out what's going on, right? What do they want to accomplish? Why are they talking to you in the first place? All right? Why did they even get on the call? Why did they even come in front of you today, right? And most importantly, what have they done before trying to get to this said goal that they have listed, right? This is one of, again, the most important phases of this process, right? You have to make a good first impression so they will open up and actually answer these honestly. Once you do that, you have to ask the right questions, right? So asking questions is super important. Why are they talking to you? What do they want to accomplish, et cetera, okay? So once you get to this part, it's super important to take your time with discovery because how you're discovering everything and how you're asking questions is going to basically set the tone and answer all the questions for the rest of this whole entire process and for the rest of the call. Okay, very important. Now, once you have done that phase, number 3 is providing a solution. All right, this is again, like the last training, being solution oriented. It's very important. In this moment, this is where you sell the vacation. Your product knowledge comes out. What do you know about the product, service, whatever the case may be? This is where you get to show that. And then this is where you get to tailor it to their needs. All right, this is why this 5-point process is in order. If you are providing a solution after the first impression, how are you going to do that, right? You can't provide a solution to anybody if you have no idea what's going on with them. You don't know what they want. You don't know anything. So it's super important, again, to do this in order, right? However, if you've asked the right questions, you've asked questions in general, you understand what they're trying to accomplish, then you can provide the solution and actually tailor it to their needs, what they like, what they want, right? Because that's what it's about. It's not about how you want to sell them. It's about the customer and what they want. Sell what they want, okay? So providing the solution is very, very important. Now, number 4, okay, I see multiple salespeople all the time make this mistake, all right? Ask for the sale, okay? So many salespeople I see over and over again. They will do the first impression, they'll do the discovery, they'll provide the solution, and then they'll just drop price, right? They'll just say, hey, it's $5,000. Hey, it's $300. Hey, it's $10,000, right? And then that's it. That's all they'll do. They don't ask for the sale prior to actually closing, all right? So when you're asking for the sale, you need to ask before you drop price, before you do anything, what I've said, does that make sense? And is this something that you want to continue with, right? You need to do a bit of a soft close, okay? Asking for the sale is super, super important. And it's a super important step in the process of the sales process, okay? So after you have asked for the sale, then you can begin to close. You can begin helping someone decide, hey, is this right? Is this the thing that I need to do? Do I actually want this, right? Then once you drop price, you can start objection handling, right, on multiple different things because now you have the basis to do so. And last, once they've made the decision, once you've objection handled, then you reaffirm that decision, okay? Super, super important. Asking for the sale is, again, one of the most important things. Now, all these steps are obviously important, but there's a few of them that you have to do no matter what, okay? Last but not least, again, a very important part of the process is finalizing and following up, okay? How are you finalizing the sale? Collecting payment. There's multiple different ways to collect payment. There's multiple ways to assure that you're actually going to get the payment and collect it on that call or in person right there, okay? Collecting payment is super important. Finalizing is super important, right? You have to make sure to actually finalize the sale or you didn't sell anything at all. Okay? And then last is follow-up. Okay? Follow-up is super important because of 2 reasons. But basically what follow-up is just checking in with that individual after you've sold them, right? Or even before, but after you've sold them, checking in to make sure that they are happy. Okay? And this is going to do 2 things. Number 1, for the salesperson, right? When you check in with a customer to say, hey, how's the service or how's the product going? All that good stuff. And they say it's going great. This is going to reaffirm you as a salesperson that you are selling the right thing. It's actually impacting people and it's doing very, very well, right? It's making people happy, okay? That's going to reaffirm you to keep selling, keep doing the thing that you're doing and continue pushing forward, okay? Number 2, this is going to help the customer because it shows how much you care about that individual, about their happiness and about their success. So when they go and buy something else, guess who they're going to come to? They're going to come to you. Okay, you're going to get the commission every time for that, and this pipeline starts to build very heavily after you've sold multiple different people. Okay, so that is very important. Now, with that being said, that is the 5-point sales process. Okay, that's what it looks like. If you do not have this or you do not know this and you are already in sales, okay, this is probably why you are sucking right now. Okay, you do not have this embedded in your brain, so it's hard for you to continue. It's hard for you to go through scripts, go through frameworks. And this applies to everybody. It's not just high ticket sales, right? If you're in retail sales, if you're in car sales, if you're in, whatever. I used to use this all the time in car sales. We didn't have a script. We didn't have a framework. We just had to go talk to people, right? So there was nothing that we could follow except for this, right? I had this embedded in my brain nonstop. What am I doing next? What is the next step of the process, right? And if I stayed on this line, I closed almost every single time because I stayed on the line, right? I stayed through the process, okay? If you're sucking right now, that's why. You're not staying on the process. You're doing things out of order. You're doing, whatever the case may be, right? But most importantly, you may not even know what this is, okay? If you don't, this is going to improve your sales ridiculously. All right. If you're trying to get into online closing, this is going to help you understand what is in the framework, what is in the script, and how you can tailor it towards you to be more personal, be more genuine, and be able to close a lot more deals. Okay. So that is what it looks like. That is the 5-point sales process. And I hope you found some value out of this video. Okay. I hope this helped anybody out there. If you liked this video, make sure and hit that like button down below and subscribe so you can get more content just like this. And we can grow this channel to actually get this out there more so we can help more salespeople and more people trying to get into sales. Okay. Now, if you want to actually put this into action and start implementing this, what you can do is you can DM me on Instagram and we will actually be able to help you with all of this, okay? We'll be able to help you with the implementation. We'll go in a lot more in depth in the trainings, all that good stuff. Just DM me on Instagram. I'll leave it in the description below, and then we'll go from there, all right? So I hope you enjoyed. I hope all of this was super valuable to you. And again, hit that subscribe button so we can grow this channel and continue to help a bunch of people. Peace.